evening. I'm Carla Beard, and this is TV3 News Journal. On January 4th, John Pavey broke ground for a new convenience store at the corner of Vine Street and Veterans Memorial Drive. We spoke with those involved about what to expect with this new local business.
John Pavey had approached area planning with a development plan. It's been 5 or 6 months ago now that he came before the board to state his case to get a convenience store at that location. It required a special exception for which the BZA granted him that special exception, and we saw the design, and it's a very unique building. It was actually designed by a local architect. It's a prefab construction that will be delivered and assembled once it's delivered here, so it'll be unlike any other convenience store in Connersville. Really unlike any other convenience store probably in Indiana.
But we've owned the corner 2 acres up there about 8 years with the intention of putting in a store. I decided to go with a larger store, needed more room. About 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to buy the other 6 acres, so we now have plenty of room there. And we've been here at this location in Fayette County since '83. Happy, always have been. So, so we like the community. We like the way they patronized us over the years. So I decided to go and begin that project on the corner.
He expressed interest in going forward with the project and building this convenience store slash gas station, and some little extras too. The fact that they're going to be able to bring the famous tenderloin they do over in Rushville over here is a big plus. I was glad to hear that. And the fact that they're going to add somewhere around 25 full or part-time jobs is a big deal. We're looking forward to it. With COVID and everything delayed, it's teaching me a little more patience than I like to have. But we're looking forward to Connersville. It's a wonderful community. We like it here, so looking forward to it. And we hope to be a part of the community and a good neighbor to everyone. And that's who we are and what we want to be.
When a school bus stops and extends its stop arm, drivers are required by law to come to a full stop. However, drivers don't always comply. The Connersville Police Department has started an education program to remind drivers of this very important responsibility.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to begin a campaign, and I shouldn't say begin, but kind of revamp the campaign to educate the public on what are the requirements when talking about school buses and stop arms. When are you legally required to stop? If you are approaching a school bus that is stopped and the stop arm is completely extended out, you are legally required to stop, and there is no road in Fayette County, including Park Road, that you don't have the duty to stop for that school bus.
People really don't understand, maybe at an intersection, whether you're supposed to stop or not. If you have a question of whether you should stop, stop. Now all the buses have cameras on them, so when the stop arm is activated, the camera comes on, and if you run the stop arm, there's a video of it, and right now all those videos are being sent to the city police, and then they determine whether there was a violation.
Enforcement's always going to be there. That's always an option. Children's safety has got to be a priority for all of us, not just law enforcement, not just bus drivers.
If the arm is out on Park Road, you do have to stop. All 4 lanes have to stop because the kid may be running across all 4 lanes.
We want to reach out to every driver, and that's the 16-year-old that just got their license. They need to understand the importance of driving safely, especially when it comes to during the school year when children are present and walking.
When Elizabeth Woodrow was in 3rd grade at Frazee Elementary School, she attended a Young Authors Conference. She decided that someday she would write a book of her own. It took a few years, but her first novel has just been released, and a launch party is scheduled for January 15th. She took a few minutes to talk to us about it.
It's called Mending Broken Roads, and it is a story about learning to love yourself and about God's grace and forgiveness. This is like the first one that I've actually finished and worked really hard to get it. I'm at that time in my life where it was just the right time. So, I mean, I think I started writing. I think I wrote my first story in first grade and just fell in love. January 15th from 12 to 3 p.m. at Connections Cafe at 635 North Central Avenue in Connersville. It is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can also shoot me a message on Facebook. My writer page is Elizabeth_writes. And you can shoot me a message if you want an autographed one, and I can work with you on how to do the payment and get the book.
Mending Broken Roads is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Scribd. The Fayette County Public Library offers a large variety of programs for local readers. We caught up with librarian Kim Sherwood, who leads the Christian Book Club.
We have 2 book clubs currently. One of them is the Christian Fiction Book Club, which I do. We meet the second Monday of each month at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's been a long-running book club. We have had anywhere from 6 to 18, 19 people who have attended all at one time. The people that I work with in this book club, generally, they want to read a book that's clean. And so that's I think the main guiding principle. We try to watch for that when we're selecting books and that. For February, we'll be reading the story, The Road to Magnolia Glen. It is actually the second book in the series. We had read the first book in the series and everybody liked it, and so they said, we'd like to read the rest of the series. All you have to do is say you want to. And you just would come into the library and check in at the adult desk and let them know that you're interested in the club, and they will get you whatever book it is we are currently reading, and you can read the book, and then you can join us for the date of that discussion for that book. So we are at 828 North Grand Avenue, and we are open Monday through Thursday, 10 to 7, Friday, 9 to 5:30, and Saturdays, 9 to 5.
News Journal reporter Sabrina Gavin visited the Connection Cafe at the corner of 7th and Central and spoke with Executive Director Charmin Gabbard about the cafe and its goals.
If I could do anything, what would it be? And I said, open up a space where people could come to minimize those barriers and to feel love without judgment, because oftentimes people with criminal histories, substance use disorder, mental illness, you're labeled as soon as you walk through the door. There's that stigma that's attached to it. If you have a criminal history, then you're that felon. If you have a substance use disorder, you're drug seeking. Sometimes people, they put that label on them, and they don't get treated as equals. So to have a space here at the cafe where everyone's welcome, we don't care where you've been, what you've done, we just want you to come in and let us love you and support you. We get it. Our main harm reduction day is Thursday 9 to 4. And the services that we offer on Thursdays are safer sex supplies, safer injection supplies. We also are a point of return for individuals who are insulin dependent. We take back all diabetic syringes so that we can dispose of those at no cost. We do naloxone training, the drug that reduces opioid reversal. So we do free community trainings for Narcan. We supply Narcan to individuals as well. Anything that we have here that we're able to help stop the spread of infectious disease, we offer that free of charge. Wound care, and then we also work with multiple programs in the community, Meridian, Reed Health, any entity that we can connect that individual to that they're looking for treatment. Also, we work with CERT, their Certified Emergency Response Team, and we do a lot of our treatment referrals to them because they can provide transportation to and from treatment, and they'll even stay with that individual as a peer support for like an additional 6 months after they leave treatment. And then on Friday nights, we're here from 4 to 10. We call that our pro-social night, for just a place of positive connection. We always have a meal and some sort of game or karaoke, some sort of fun activity. Then Saturdays, Brianna's Hope is here from 9 to noon. And then we again open from 4 to 10 on Saturday nights. And we offer just, again, that safe space to come to. And we have all pathways of recovery support. Well, we just got, so from June until now, we had only that space over there. We just opened this side of the cafe December 22nd. And with our new space, it allowed us this entire, so now we have a kitchen. One of the things that we're working on getting is a stove and refrigerator, so that way we can cook and prepare the meals all here ourselves. That'll save us on expenses. And then we just opened up a clothing and hygiene closet. It's called Whitney's Closet, in memory of a young lady that had completed suicide earlier this year. We were fortunate enough to meet her family, and we just love her family. And we had asked if we could do something in memory of Whitney. So we have a full closet over here with so many resources in it right now that it's just unbelievable. The community's been amazing.
Thank you for joining us this evening. As always, we leave you with Brad Coulter, Looking Back.
Hi, I'm Brad Coulter, and this is Looking Back. The name of this week's story is Dr. A.D. Tyrell, the Maplewood Fair, and the Bread Box. This story for me begins with the bread box, not the kind that sits on your counter, but this one is more like a trunk. In 1994, I bought a home at 206 West 19th Street from Mrs. Gulliford Fern Lips. One of the interesting items she left for me was a dusty old sewing box. When I was a kid, every grandma had an old sewing box full of yarn and covered with material. Sometime later, I decided to take the material off and see what was underneath. As I peeled off each layer, it seemed that a generation was stripped away, and the last of 4 layers was a carpet bag material that was used in the early 1900s. Much to my surprise, what I found next was a very old trunk emblazed with the words Krug's Bread. A little research of Krug's didn't turn up much, so the box turned into a conversation piece for me, but not much was known about it. What I did know was that Mrs. Lips had said the home I bought and the building next door were built by the same person, and it had been a store. She also told me the home had been in her family 99 years, and she was very particular about who would be buying it. Fast forward to now, and as I started to write the looking back column, the bread box came to mind again, and I set out to find out who it belonged to. Dr. A.D. Alexander DeWitt Tyrell was born on July 22, 1835 in southern New York State. He was a close relative of DeWitt Clinton, mayor of New York City, and was related to the famous Clintons and the DeWitts, who were very prestigious in the founding in the early days of our country. The families were very wealthy, but after being educated in medicine and pharmacy, he set out to make his own way and moved to Connersville. He arrived here in 1864 and was soon considered among the ablest physicians and served several terms as coroner and county physician. He served in the position of the poor several times. It seems the county paid the doctor to care for people without the means to pay for their own care. It is said that he was very successful in the treatment of typhoid and many ailments of the time. He even served as sheriff for a time to fill a vacancy. In 1882, he was married to Luella Backhouse at her parents' home, still standing at 2687 South State Road 1. Later that year, they purchased 33 acres from Anthony Schneider and built a cottage at 206 West 19th Street. He added on to the house and eventually added a second story as it is today. In 1895, he added a building to house his office, a pharmacy, and store at 216 West 19th Street. The new store was called Maplewood Fair, and he had a hall there called Tyrell Hall. Many political speeches were given there, including Connersville Mayor Finley Gray giving a speech called The Filthy Canal. This was in 1910 when Finley was trying to get the people to support the city investing in new water wells and abandoning the canal as a water source. No doubt this interested the doctor greatly, as there were many ill from effects of drinking the unsanitary water. He continued business there until 1919, when the store changed hands and became the Sanitary Meat Market. By this time, AD and Lou's daughter, Elsie, had married Roy Lips, and their son, Gulliford, had arrived in 1908. Roy was a baker in his father's business downtown and drove the baker's wagon. As an interesting side note, Roy played the cornet. At some point, he tired of honking the tin horn to announce his deliveries and decided to play a solo for the housewife at each stop. This caused a huge increase in business for the Lips Bakery. As a bonus, the women would come out to the wagon and almost always make a purchase. This was so popular, other local businessmen tried adding vaudeville to their deliveries. Dr. A.D. Tyrell lived until July 13, 1925, and Luella until 1930, and the home was passed to Elsie Lips, their daughter. Elsie shared the house with Gulliford and Fern after their marriage on Christmas Day 1931. When Elsie passed in 1961, she left the home to Gulliford and Fern, who lived there with their daughter Judy until selling it to me in 1994. As I said, this story started with the bread box. It must be presumed that the box sat on the sidewalk in front of the store to accept the overnight bakery deliveries from Krog's. The box likely was covered by material after the Tyrell store closed in the mid-1910s. This is my fascination with small-town living. A neighborhood boy familiar with all the characters and landmarks in the story later buys the home and inherits the bread box that inspires the story of one of Connersville's early pioneer doctors to be remembered. What a glorious place we call home.